Tonight, a brazen daylight shooting in the city claims the life of a young man.
I think everybody just based on resolving issues with violence.
Secure St. Lucia to reinstate compensation payments to workers following intervention by the acting Labour Commissioner. And Guy Joseph fires back at the opposition on the issue of the Pajoa letter. Those stories and more are coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovely and Amy Joseph.
Good evening. It is Thursday, the 18th of April, 2019. Welcome to the Hot 7 Nightly News. We're on Flow, Channel 117, Kiss FM 105.5 and 105.9, CaribbeanHotTV.com, and of course, our free Caribbean Hot FM mobile app. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. There was pandemonium in the city due to a brazen daylight shooting. Passers-by say an unmasked gunman disembarked a motorcar on Brogley Street and fired shots at Chad Ramsey of Marshall, killing him along the street. Passers-by reacted.
I cannot talk because myself, that thing in me, that my heart.
Heavy
and my heart beating. Because I myself have children too. I have boys. And that is hurting me when I see them kind of crying.
Really and truly, I think everybody just based on resolving issues with violence. But what we are doing, government has to try and put things in place. Not government alone, no? We as a population and a public, we all have to put things together. Try to take the country back from the criminal. At the end of the day, we have youngsters coming up in society that, we have to put things in place to try and prevent those things. It's not that you can prevent crime on the whole, but at the end of the day, you could try and curtail it somewhat. But we have to put things in place, man. At the end of the day, government has to go back to the drum, go back to cabinet, and put legislation in place to give the police more powers to do what they have to do. And give citizens a particular amount of authority to deal with this. Because you find things happening, people are afraid to speak because of they believe that they're going to be targeted. So we have to go back to the drawing board, put things in place, put party aside, but deal with it at a holistic standpoint so that we could get our streets back, that we could walk everywhere.
Everybody free in this world, so people doing what they want. Even blaming society. But first you have to blame yourself. Everything starts from you before you blame others. So that is what I can say. Before I say something against somebody, I have to blame myself. Put myself in it, and then I'll put somebody else in it. That's all I have to say. I can't say much.
It's not politicians. No matter what they put in place, what they implement, they cannot curb crime. The only people that will curb crime is the people that are doing the crime. Alright, when it comes to a truce, if some get to thing, crime will cease. But politicians, nothing, they put all the laws they want, it's still going to stop it. What should happen there? Probably like good thing that will happen there. And they have police and bike passing right now over the place. People in town are busy day, people in town everywhere. And they come and shoot a man there. So we cannot curb crime. It's the criminals have to curb the crime. Politicians cannot curb crime.
Now, this is a developing story. We do know that Chad Ramsey has passed away. We will update you as soon as more details are available. In other news, the family members of Ali Smith say they are not convinced by results of an autopsy. Smith's aunt says the family was told that the cause of death was COPD. The aunt, Lorena Smith, says the family has lawyered up and plans to pursue this matter further.
We were planning to have another autopsy done, but for certain, when they pick up the body, certain things that happen after they pick up the body, so it is likely maybe we cannot do it, because we would have our own private doctor to do another by the time the body reached at Creek, they had already embalmed him and this and that. They didn't know he was doing a second one. So that is why we have to hold it like that, and we are still going to pursue the matter because we have enough evidence, more than enough evidence that he was beaten. We have enough evidence he was beaten and he was bribed. So that is why we are not going to take it easy.
That was Lorena Smith. Passers-by are breathing a sigh of relief after a disaster was averted due to what they say was the careless action of one man. Even more baffling, they say, was the reaction of a nearby security guard.
Well, somebody sent a cigarette butt there, the fire catch.
Now we start out in 2 bottles of water, not enough water. So the people go there and ask the man for water to order. The man telling the people have nothing to do with his miss. So I get pissed off.
Et puis ti madame ta là et puis ti cousin moi nous assise là. Moi était là moi tan pouf. So moi ka mande ti cousin moi qui ça qui fait ça, il même ka mande moi qui ça qui fait ça. En même temps moi ka garder moi ka wè la midi fait. So moi dit miti ka la ka pris di fait. Yo kay madame monsieur bon glo monsieur a dit ko ça pas à faire. Pourquoi on dit c'est pas à faire? Pour eten bagay là ou pas ni pour dire c'est pas à faire. Comprendre?
The passers-by say good sense eventually prevailed and the security guard provided water to extinguish the fire and even joined in the effort. In other news, Minister for Economic Development Guy Joseph has finally addressed the letter, but not the letter you may think. Over the past weeks, members of the opposition have been hammering at the current administration requesting answers for the letter allegedly signed by Guy Joseph granting the company Pajoa Limited the authority to seek funds in the sum of $162 million backed by the government of St. Lucia. Joseph insists that responsibility does not fall on him to account for any letter within the public domain.
Get you so of late, Mr. Speaker, I had a talking about letters that are circulating. And the member for Castries East took the liberty to speak about it. I will tell them, I am Minister of Economic Development. I am the minister with responsibility to deal with all of the funding agencies for government projects. CDB, World Bank, everything. So, Mr. Speaker, do we write letters? Yes, we write letters. Can I account for letters that are in the public domain? No, I cannot account for it.
The firebrand politician went on to resurrect another letter, a comfort letter from the former SLP government. However, during his delivery, members of the opposition remained resolute in their demand for answers to the Pajoa letter, which were not forthcoming.
Some people forget the letters that they themselves write. So sometimes you have to remind this honorable house what happens. And when they write their letters, headline. Now that's an official document that has been made a document of this house. Robert Ainsworth. So it says in the paragraph before the last, Mr. Speaker, it says this letter and the terms and its terms is to be kept confidential as between the parties and your intended joint venture partners only, and will become public only upon mutual agreement of the parties. So yes. So, Mr. Speaker, they said that was a letter of comfort.
The opposition argues that the issue at hand remains the lack of a cabinet conclusion on the issuing of the letter. The opposition asked the question, if found to be authentic, why wasn't permission to issue the letter sought by the minister? Acting Labour Commissioner Cornelia Javatis has resolved an industrial impasse between the management of Secure St. Lucia Limited and the National Workers Union. 7 days ago, the NWU gave the security company a 14-day ultimatum to either engage the union in an attempt to settle outstanding industrial matters or face protest action by the workers. The Acting Labour Commissioner made a timely intervention and summoned the company and the NWU to a conciliatory meeting on Wednesday. The meeting was attended by the parties and chaired by the Department of Labour officials. They agreed to 1. Reinstate the process of compensation payment on overtime due to workers. 2. To submit a list of names to the Department of Labour copied to the NWU confirming the payments made. And 3. To set a new date for the continuation of negotiations between the parties. Both sides agreed to continue to work together in the interest of the workers. Parliamentary representative for Castries South, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, during the 18th of April appropriation bill addressed what he says is a major cause of concern with the 2019-2020 budget and efforts made by the current administration. The representative could not help but make the observation that after the recent outpouring of condolences on the part of the Prime Minister to the burning of an international historic treasure, Notre Dame, Hilaire notes that in comparison, on St. Lucia's own soil, little has been done to work towards the immediate rebuilding of St. Lucia's very own historic institution, the FRC. Solange Alfred tells us more.
The fire of Notre Dame invoked many condolences worldwide. Our very own Prime Minister Alain Chastanet, during the April 15th session of the appropriation bill, sympathized with the country of France. Parliamentary representative for Castries South, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, says that actions speak louder than words when it comes to truly showing an appreciation for historical institutions, as he referenced the March 25th fire that gutted St. Lucia's very own Folk Research Center.
In the start of this debate on the appropriation bills, in statements of ministers, the Prime Minister stood up and he expressed sympathy with France and the people of France. And he looked at the burning of the Cathedral of Notre Dame, Mr. Speaker. And those of us who've had the pleasure to see it and know about it, we recognize how historic it is. But Mr. Speaker, we had, and may I add, Mr. Speaker, the President Macron stood up and said, we will rebuild because of the historical significance of that cathedral. But the Folk Research Center burns. And I was wondering if you have a sense of reality to appreciate the burning of the cathedral in Paris, how can you not appreciate the burning of the Folk Research Center? I'm sure the member from Castries North would say, I will rebuild the Folk Research Center, and not just because it may be in his constituency, but because of its significance.
Weighing in on the conversation is the Executive Director of the Folk Research Center, Hilary Lafosse, who says, in regards to allocation of funds towards the betterment of cultural heritage, not enough is being done, and that area stands to benefit from an injection of allowance into the sector.
I think we did a little more, definitely did a little more, because it's one of the areas that we can use to further our objectives as a nation, particularly young people, ensuring that they embrace their culture. And it is important that we continue to consider our development in that area.
The Folk Research Center was established in 1973 as a hub for cultural heritage, research and promotion of St. Lucia's unique culture. The contents of the center are temporarily housed at the old Monroe College building at Barnard Hill, as the organization continues its efforts to generate funds to rebuild at Mount Pleasant. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
Thank you, Solange. This is the Hot 7 Nightly News. When we come back, a minibus driver who recently moved into a small community is being called a nuisance to other drivers in the community. One good turn deserves another. Dominican students are on island to help raise funds for the St. Joseph Convent, and motorcycle cruisers are on island. Stay with us.